Good evening and welcome to another scene in the living world of darkness, Camarilla and Anarch venue. We focus in on a high-end bar, lounge place where you can get drinks, talk with people. It's quite formal, quite an upscale place in a embattered and chaotic city, currently under what seems to be direct attack. A couple of the kindred have gotten a secure message from Theodore that says if people are able to meet and unwind from current affairs, they are welcome at this fairly upscale place. Dress accordingly. It's fairly short, the message, and yeah. And a couple of kindred have decided to respond to the message.
All right. Well, same as the previous time, Lucius will go and scout out the place. Under his obfuscated visage in the beginning, he will be wearing a suit, but he will be carrying a briefcase. In this briefcase is not a set of papers, but nicely packed in set of guns. He's not leaving without, and a dagger, nicely prepared for when fun starts. And then he just goes to that place. He gets past security. If there's no security, he will go to the restroom.
There is. It's quite clear that when you enter this place, it's not as lively and there's not as much party going on. And there are people there, but it's clear that there are some valet parkers and stuff, so you are looked at. But no, there's no metal detector, but there's clearly someone just greeting you and letting you in.
All right. Lucius will push a smile on his face, and he will walk in. He's dressed okay. He's not. It's not a $16,000 suit, but it's nice.
Okay. Yeah. The place is open enough, but the man who sees you in, just looks at you and just stare and nods a bit, and he just says, "Just good evening. Please, just down this way and into one of the the other areas. The area where you get down in the hall, just take a left."
Lucius will smile and follow up on what the man says.
As you get down there, you come into not a back room, but a portion of the place that does not seem to have any windows. It's a bigger room, but there's some paintings on the wall, and there's what seems to be well, when you get in, you see a man you've probably seen before. This guy. This guy is you know who this is, but
yeah,
he is conversing and quite cordial with three men and two women. He seems to be telling a story. Something he's quite full of hand motions and somewhat loud voice, and as is probably he's working a bit for this make this entertaining, and they all seem fairly enthralled, and you're quite sure you begin to feel the effects of what you don't need to roll awareness because you're quite sure that there's something going on as you come into the room. but you also feel it fade as as Theodore sees you. It begins to fade. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, please, would you have me excused? Please sit down. I must attend to one of my other guests. Please, have yourself a seat, have a drink, please. And they seem to just nod, and they well, three of them, the three men leave. Um, they go out and they just nod to you as they leave, and the two women seem to sit down in a corner. They begin to talk. They seem to be minding their own business. They're giggling a bit and they're looking to, yeah, they seem to be talking for themselves.
All right. Lucius smiles at Theodore and says, "Thank you very much for this invitation. I must need it recluse after such a hardened battle."
He just looks at you. Um, he doesn't say a lot. He just looks at you and then he just nods a bit and just you can see that he takes a look over at the women. They don't seem to, well, they don't seem to see, to really have any, like, awareness of anything you're saying, but he'll just look over at them and just, yes, we seem to have ended a trying time, but please, come here. And he goes over to the side, and you essentially go over to the other side of the room. So you're a little more away from the others, but just just looks at you and just says, "Yes, I have heard. I've Please sit down.
Lucius takes a seat.
I've heard of the show. I've heard that your home was attacked.
We were indeed viciously removed from our housing, as to say. Very shameful, and I feel betrayal of the highest order, but we managed to prevail and survive. You can tell the others who approach you that the regent is still steady.
That is good to hear indeed. Good to hear indeed. Mm. Tell me, have you heard anything else from anywhere else in the city?
I've heard nothing, which is, I think, a good idea. That means that everything we prepared for is working fine.
Thus far, they seem to be quite focused. Their attacks.
They have a very
Hopkins.
insider info, I'm sure.
Samantha will be found and held responsible. That I can guarantee. Well, as much as
Well,
I can guarantee anything. But
as soon as I get the word from the sheriff, if he wants to lead the attack or let me do it, I will set down the hunt and I will not stop until we find her.
very well. That is good to hear.
At that point, Gwen, having fed a bit so that she can recover from her wounds and not be walking around with a giant with a bullet hole in her head, because that would clue anyone who looks at her into the fact that she's already dead. Um, she drives up. She's actually at this point in the car with Bob and Raquel. She pulls up to the building, the appointed building, letting them know to contact her immediately if they even smell something suspicious looking. Um, and she leaves them outside. She trusts Theodore, but not necessarily the location. She walks in. She has a purse slung over her shoulder. She's borrowed her bodyguard's pistol and has it in the purse, hidden away, just in case. She probably won't need it, but just in case. Uh, it pays to be safe right about now. And she heads back, much the same way Lucius had, with the same directions down to the left, down the hallway.
And you see Lucius and what you know is Theodore in another way, sitting and talking.
When so are they in like a side, or like just like the corner of the room or something?
They are sitting in the opposite corner of two women who seem quite enthralled in their conversation for the moment.
Gwen, she looks around, just to be certain. She makes her way towards this gathering.
Uh, Theodore just gets up. Just, Gwen, quickly come. It warms
Lucius
my.
also stands up as a lady enters the room.
It warms my. Well, I am very, very pleased that you could make it. Please sit down. Can I get you anything? He
Gwen,
looks to the two of them.
Gwen shakes her head. Uh, I'm good.
I could go with a whiskey, please.
Make that a double for both of us. He sits there for a moment, and he just sits there and just looks at Gwen and just. I heard that your place of work, or something to that effect, was also compromised, shall we say?
Yeah, thankfully well, thankfully all anyone saw was a few people in masks who saved the day. At that, she actually smiles, probably for the first time she has in about a day or two. Uh,
That is good. Our life requires so very much of us. In the most difficult of situations, we must also keep certain things under wraps. And for such a feat, you have my thanks. Tell me, have either of you heard of anyone who has met? And he whispers, final death.
Lucius shakes his head. I've lost only ghouls, nothing more. Oh, actually, that's a lie. I have to um, roll for that. That's it. So that's gonna be funny. Oh, right, 3 successes.
And that is manipulation subterfuge, I'm guessing?
Yeah, and that's manipulation subterfuge. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Whew, lucky me.
Well, uh, yeah, well, if it cancels out, then, yeah, well, he has a specialty. But whatever the case might be, you see that Theodore just looks at you and he has this somber look on his face. He doesn't seem to react to whatever you said. He just nods and just, that is very good to hear. So I have heard that Mr. February is not among us anymore. Well, I've quite extensive proof of that, which is not a good thing, but such is the nature of war.
Everyone sees Sam strolling into the, where is this, a bar?
It is a bar slash lounge. You will
It's
be
a
directed,
high-class lounge.
Nice.
you will be directed down towards the main area, and then onto the left, you get into a room where two women are sitting in the corner talking to themselves. They seem to be enjoying it, and but not paying too much attention. And you can see Theodore, Gwen, and Lucius sitting at a table.
He does see Gwen minus a bullet hole in her forehead, thankfully, because he did probably notice that she couldn't get rid of that in the sewers.
Yes, he did. But that is neither here nor there anymore. Evening to you all.
Good evening, my sheriff.
My sheriff.
I suppose you were with Gwen. That's what I heard.
Aye, and if Scott, he's not here tonight, but don't worry, he pulled his weight. He's still around.
Yes.
Good to see you're holding up yourself.
Well, we cannot avoid every fight the life we live throws at us, but I can, however, also to you state that Mr. February sadly is no longer among us. That is the only recent final death I have heard of. But I'm glad to hear that the three of you were able to pull this off without reaching, well, without revealing anything and without losing anyone. And this is very commendable. Quite the feat for such a new sheriff.
Well, I do what I can. We take back the hospital.
Quite
I'm not
so.
sure. Well, that's Gwen's space, however. I'm not sure what condition it is in now, although the police dealt with what was left.
Right. So, did you, well, above whatever horrifying sight you must, well, potentially could have seen in the hands of the enemy, is there anything noteworthy you could report? Anything that does not immediately make sense or something?
They've been sending some flesh-crafted soldiers into the sewers. And Sam will also drop any, because we'll be having the sewer scene later at some point. He'll drop any information he learns from there, which I will PM you after that scene when we learn it.
Fair enough.
But mainly right now, flesh-crafted ghouls is the main thing. Flesh-crafted monsters in the sewers. And
In the hospital, kind of.
not in the hospital. He will note that there were Wassail kindred. They've been sending kindred in Wassail as fodder and to basically cause as large a mass grave breach as possible. But they deal with that.
Yes, Gwen told me. And again, I am quite glad to hear that. What I am concerned about is this flooding into the sewers. Well, I heard about the Elysium as well. I was very, very fortunate that you all got out of there.
I know that one Sam bitch betrayed us, but I have a sinking suspicion we've been sold down the river by many more. I know that the refugees had some plans, although
Well,
those
they
they
paid
would
the
know for.
price.
And there are
They
other
were infiltrated, and those who infiltrated them seem to make short work of the rest.
more still around, and from what I hear, the wolves came in. Lucky coincidence for us in this case.
Yes, I thank one of them. They actually did help out, which is rare, but I suppose anything can happen in the back apple.
Well, I suppose they're both a threat to our mutual interests. Wouldn't surprise me if they figured it as such, at least.
Well, I'm not going to congratulate them with a gift basket, but at some distance, I suppose you could try to have a functioning relationship. And if we were to do that, which might be an idea, I believe we should make sure that Mr. Kellogg is in on it. He is, well, stiff as a board, but we're not having any heartwarming and joyous times right now. We need a diplomat. We need someone who knows his business, and he does know his business. But
I can tell you, Mr. Theodore, that when it push comes to shove, Mr. Kellogg will pull his weight in battle.
oh, I'm quite certain. But he is, well, we travel in different social circles, I suppose you could say, and we have a. He's good at his job, and I respect him quite a lot. You can tell that Theodore is just sitting, and he's choosing his words more than usual, and he's just sitting there, and there's something bugging him for a moment or two. But he said, "Quite so. He is a credit to his clan."
I'm sure he is.
Quite so. And good, truly, it is good to see all of you. I was fearing the worst first when I heard of Elysium and then the other things, but if they are indeed sending flesh-crafted things, blood brothers, God knows whatever else, I am truly happy to see you all functioning and up and about. But there's nothing else you can tell me. Was there any distinguishing features about anyone present, either at the chantry or at the...
Oh yes, I've got a very good look on all of them.
But they are all, well, taken care of.
Oh no, those were in the final push when we made our exit after destroying anything they might want to use.
Ah,
Policy, you see, sir. The moment the Elysium is discovered, especially by enemy troops, it is always best to destroy all the evidence and vacate the premises.
Bugging out. Seems like a. Sorry,
scorched
forget the
earth.
word. Seems
Scorched
like a shrewd. That's it. Seems like a shrewd plan.
What about at the hospital? Only troubleheads and people lost to the beast.
Interestingly, they were rounding up kind for some reason. Of course, rescued them and got them out. Didn't seem to have saw anything. They were just being threatened at gunpoint, so didn't really know anything.
Does Gwen or Spillane have eidentic memory?
No.
No.
Make me a intelligence alertness roll.
I know that does not suck, but my roll for it does.
Yeah, Gwen doesn't remember much.
Damn it. Oh well.
There were,
Rounding up, as in cattle.
locked away in the morgue for some reason.
Well,
I was
hopefully
concerned they
it's-
had already turned them, but all of them were ordinary. We checked them all on the way out, so
hopefully it is for, well, what should we call it? Emergency repairs. These Samizi are indeed no longer people. And sometimes they will look at some of their creations as things in need of spare parts. And a hospital with a lot of people concentrated seems like a fairly good target for such a thing. Hopefully nothing more sinister is
well,
afoot. I hope, of course.
the sailor ones were clearly crafted, but other than that, no, it appears no one was altered. Who was that one fellow over the intercom after we killed the sailor kindred? I'm not sure if he got out or not, or if he was on top of the building and we shot him. I can't really remember too much, but we wiped out the pack in its entirety.
Very well. Was there anything distinct about them? Oh well, the voice.
One guy felt like wearing plate armor for some reason. Like something out of a Dark Ages novel.
Did it work? I mean, did it work, his armor?
She actually kind of chuckles at that. Well, he suffered acute holes of the face syndrome.
Head trauma.
Head trauma. There we go.
Yeah.
He wasn't wearing a helmet.
But
You should always wear a helmet.
What's
you
the
say over
use
the
of...
intercom, was that just talking to the troops, so to say, or no one comments on that?
Oh, sorry, what was he trying to imply?
He said the voice over the intercom, was that just talking to the troops, or
Mainly to alert the rest of them to our presence, and basically said whoever gets us first gets some big bad reward or something. Of course, they all died.
how do you describe? Do you describe what you can remember of what he said, or do you just...
He
you just...
recalls his rather thick accent and, yeah, the generals of what he's... Because he failed his intelligence roll, so he doesn't remember all that much other than it was generally an alert. Oh, and meat tenderizers, because that stuck out, because...
All right. Make a perception alertness roll, please.
Oh man, that's two successes.
Does
Even
everyone
as
make
you
that?
know that this is a mask. 3 successes. And does Kattenbrunner do anything? Or
Yeah,
Gwen?
I didn't know. Can I roll the same thing?
You can roll.
So I have to roll
Oh,
alertness.
I mean, I
wow.
failed, but it's all the same number.
That's
Right,
a
So
boss roll somehow.
Oh god, yeah.
I have
I've
a
had that
9.
before with 6. It's hilarious.
Yeah. You don't seem to notice anything really. He just sits there and just meat tenderize. He specifically said that there's some meat to tenderize.
Is this a specific phrase you trying to recall, sir?
I'm asking if that was specifically thick English lower class accent and meat to tenderize.
Hi.
That is probably dire news. That would mean that fairly well.
I assume you have a better idea of who's behind this?
I am quite certain that this is he's not gotten too much of his name, but he is quite the problem.
Aye, who are we talking about in particular here? What
It's
kind of problem?
and it's a pack led by an, well, at one point, English person of lower, well, of the rabble, shall we say. The rabble shaped him in life and apparently also in death. I don't know exactly how old he is, but his pack is a band of complete lunatics. They are obsessed with, well, I know that two of them are Marcavian and completely, utterly deranged. The others are also, they have a tendency to, well, rip and rend, so to say. They have all been in the meat industry for some reason. Butchers, and I do not know which twisted methods of logic is behind them, but the pack itself is quite brutal, quite into visceral displays of, well, slaughter.
Aye, well, I kind of expected as such from the Sabbat.
Yes.
But,
What I also expect, my sheriff, is if there's a pack like this who are also zealous about these things, they would probably go for theatrical areas where they like to do their thing. I suggest we might start looking into abandoned meat packing plantations if we want to confront them at some point.
and I'll probably try and attack again, no doubt on
What concerns
well,
me
it's that
more,
time of year, ain't it?
what concerns me more is that there might be, well, I will have to look into this, of course, but I'm looking into quite a few things, but their associations are, well, not set in stone, but I hope to have some information on who they might be connected to. What was his name? I will have to look at some documents. I apologize, I cannot recall at this moment in time.
Aye, don't worry about it. Just be sure to inform me once you discover his true identity.
Namamini, well, his name was Earl Williams or something. Earl, no, not Williams. Wilhelms, no. Earl, what was his last name? What was his bloody last name? You can see that he's trying to remember something. Earl Winchester. Like, no. W something. I will get back to you on that. what his true name is. He was a butcher with trade, and he is, like the others, completely demented. If you can find these people and stop them, I believe you would do the world a great service, as you would do with any of well, these individuals.
Sheriff, I had a question. Since we are now currently under siege, we still have the need to capture our traitor, alive if possible, dead, just good. Um, do you want to go after Samantha yourself?
But of course, I would appreciate any help I could get. Like the dance aunt, she's not going to be a straightforward threat. She's going to be hiding.
Well, as you know, I have some tricks in tracking.
That's what I was hoping to hear.
Well, I must commend you again. Mr. Blaine, you seem to have risen to the occasion. Quite so. I'm quite pleased to have such a skilled individual on your post.
Well, in such dark times as these, you got to step up to the plate.
Quite so. As the assembled kindred here, probably also, you can sense that Theodore is a lot more collected. He's not as jovial as he normally is. He is quite contemplative and seems a bit more reserved than he normally is. It's a bit uncharacteristic for him.
Exactly. Do I have the feeling that I'm talking to the same guy? Because the last person we talked to could be an imposter. I'm referring to Mr. Budge. Can I make an intelligence alertness roll or something to check if his mannerisms are
Sure.
normal?
Perception, empathy, or an intelligence, whatever is highest. I mean, you can.
I have to look into that. I believe my intelligence is 3 and my perception is 2, but I'm not sure anymore. Doesn't really matter. It's 1 dice. It won't roll on 1 dice. Here you go. That's a 9, an 8, and a 10, but I have to take down 1. So there you go.
You get the distinct impression that this guy is. Wow. You think as you're sitting there after a little while and just this guy is not necessarily. I mean, you would say that this guy is probably distracted more than he's faking. Like he's thinking of something, or his mind is somewhat elsewhere. He doesn't seem nervous or like on edge as a person would be if they're faking or imitating someone. They'll come across as a bit more fake or stiff in some areas. That's not the case here. That's all of you with those roles. Like it comes across as it's probably someone who is distracted, maybe is thinking of something that is not too pleasant, and that's also putting a damper on the spirits. That's what you're thinking.
All right.
Okay. Just roll fast. Yeah, basically get the same feeling. Okay. Yeah, it's sounds pretty confident. He's the real deal. Because surely someone's actually checked at this point, right?
Surely it wouldn't be 2 Master of Harpies in a row.
Surely someone gave us the common sense now, right?
Yeah, actually, I have a mirror.
Had the extra info. When you entered, what you heard, what you saw, that was very much like the when he was conversing with some kind. That was very much as you have seen him before.
Right.
I mean, that you you saw as the only one here. So you also have that.
All right. Lucio will take no further actions, but he's become a lot more skeptical of any other people who tend to be here for a while and still backstab. So yeah, he's careful.
Hmm. Anyways, is there any other news? Any other place? I know that, well, one thing we must all consider is that our place of rest and privacy might not be so private. I do not know some of the new A1's locations, since this is not something a harpy, mistress of harpies, should be privy to, given her position. But given the facts that she has turned over all evidence, well, a word of warning. Consider that and take the necessary precautions. Just a word of advice.
Hey, will do.
Lucius is for a moment drifting off in his mind, thinking about the nice, comfy bed he had at the Chantry.
And his child. That no one knows about.
There's no such thing.
Well, we also have to keep in mind, I think it's fairly obvious how the Sabbath are able to pull this off without any mortal interference at this point. We'll have to go. We'll have to continue our objective regarding the mayor now more fervently. I'm going
Why?
to give.
Quite so. For the moment, I will assist if that is needed. But I will make some cautions for you, Mrs. Spillane, and the two of you, and your other hound, of course. Hopefully, those precautions will not be needed, but do know where I can be found, what number, and I will need to make some preparations, more so than I've already done. Please, for the next couple of hours, you are free to stay here. Please, if you need anything ordered from the bar, it will be put on my tab. Just say that Theodore company until 4 o'clock will have and whatever you want from the bar. And by the way, you did get whiskeys, just as a side note.
Yeah.
And he has been drinking the whiskey. I forgot all about that. Sorry. And he will just, but some of these things I must see to now. I hope to see you all very soon. Stay safe and stay alert. This will get worse before it gets better. And he gets up, nods to all of you, and steps out and leaves the area. Well, leaves the bar.
And with that, unless anybody has anything else to say, I think we could turn the scene there.
Yes, Lucius won't stay longer than absolutely necessary. Still severely paranoid.
Yeah, Sam will stay a while, drink, but I mean, when he will leave with Gwen, as he trusts his climate.
Then you mean final death? No, I'm kidding. You get jumped. No. All right. With that, as they stay a little and leave, then we will end our scene. Thank you very much, players, for playing, and watchers for watching. Good night.